How would you raise your metabolic rate? Your rate of metabolic processes? I'd first need to look at someone's activity levels and how much they are eating. If someone was very active, male, heavy, big, muscular, and they're saying to me, I'm eating 100 grams of protein a day and 100 grams of fat, that's not much food for pretty much any adult of any size, I'd imagine. It's what a competitor may diet down to, like a bodybuilding physique competitor. They're females, very small and lightly muscled and don't train much. So basically the idea is, first of all, do you need to increase your metabolic rate? Like, what is the purpose of it? That'd be my first question as a composition coach, consultant sort of thing. I have to make sure that the goal is reasonable and there's a reason for it. So, for example, some people out there like to eat 2 kilos of meat because it's 2 kilos of meat, it's a round number, but they get fat when they do it. So they'll go through stages of 2 kilos of meat, 1.5 kilo of meat. I know lots of people like that. They're usually young men between the age of 20 and 30. They like binge eating and they like to have this sort of like big round number to sort of show off and say they're as big and strong as Sean Baker, but they're not. But that's not a reasonable purpose. A reasonable purpose would be you're feeling tired, fatigued, everything you eat just doesn't digest efficiently and quickly. And your sleep's just awful and you're not going to bed at the right times. Your leptin signaling's all over the place. Your circadian profile is messed up to high heaven. It's obvious your body's not feeling good. You feel depressed. Your skin's dry, perhaps. Your body's not got that turnover of ATP in order to do the process that it needs to do to feel good. And that'd be a perfect situation to do a leptin reset. So you can look at the book by Dr. Jack Kruse, Epipaleo RX. I bought it myself. Basically, it's a high protein and high fat breakfast, ideally within about an hour of waking. During that time, you're also outside looking towards the sun. Even on bad days, it's something you do every day routinely within 20, 30 minutes of waking up. The sooner the better. So the idea is you're programming the lens of your eye, the cornea, to work out, okay, it's sunlight outside, this time of day, this spectrum of light, this is what my body needs to do. These are hormones that my body needs to signal forward. So leptin resistance is your body isn't dealing with the leptin properly. It's going in, but there's some sort of sensitivity issue, some sort of conductivity issue, you might say, in very untechnical terms. So that's what I'd look at first. So you're trying to basically gradually increase your metabolic rate, but what I'd be doing with the diet would be to add maybe 10 grams of fat or 10 grams of protein or both each week, up to a point until your body fat starts to go up. Now, it might be that you're trying to gain body fat, in which case, obviously, keep adding it. At least go to the point where that food starts to not taste very good. Then you hang around there for a while, you try and maintain it, try and track it, just because it's a more measured approach, in my opinion. Then when you're doing that for a long time, you're not getting body fat. Okay, there we go. You've not gained body fat and you've increased your basal metabolic rate. So that's what I'd look at first. Other things are get good sleep quality, blue blocking glasses, all the grounding stuff that would all help. I think you can't neglect the sleep side of it. And there's been studies where people have actually compared physique competitors that would sleep an extra hour in the morning. So they go to sleep until 6 in the morning. Then the other group would go to sleep until 5 in the morning, but do an hour of cardio. At the end of it all, the body composition outcomes are better for people that just slept more. The people that slept the right amount that they're meant to sleep. So you can't neglect sleep. You can't neglect diet. You can't neglect having a sensible plan, a measured plan. And you can't neglect also making sure your goals are appropriate for what you're trying to achieve. And they're relative to you. So for me, increasing my basal metabolic rate to 6,500 calories, if you could measure it, through food intake food labels, then it's not something I'd want to do. It's too expensive. It wouldn't be a reasonable goal. But if I was, say, eating 2,000, but I want to get to 2,500, okay, that's a reasonable task because I'm a big person. I need more than 2,000 damn calories. So, yeah. Anyway, I know the calories thing doesn't make sense, but I'm using that as just single numbers. So I have to say 200 grams of protein, 200 grams of fat, 250 grams of protein, There we go. Long story short, I think the idea that we should reverse diet for as long as we actually diet into the contest phase I think it's a bad idea. And the reason being, when you're losing body fat to get in shape, you spend an exponential amount of time, say 4 or 5 months for a lot of people, to get into shape. Especially if you want to do it right, do it safely without much hassle to your life, and not be as strict or as quick as I would probably do it. So yeah, it's a less abrasive approach to do it slowly. What proponents of reverse dieting out there will say is that you should try to match the time that you spend dieting with the time you spend after the competition reverse dieting, raising the food intake back up gradually. I think it's a bad idea because, again, you waste another opportunity to spend more time gaining muscle mass, because you're not in a well-fed state until your body fat is at the set point it's meant to be to perform optimally in the gym. If say your body needs 3 months, then you spend an extra 2 to 3 months reverse dieting to get your body weight set point where you feel strong, perform well in the gym, recovery's good, and your appetite's not off the charts sort of thing. You've just wasted 3 months. I don't think at the same time that you should deliberately try to gain all the weight back immediately. It should be phased in, and that should be determined by the quickest possible weight gain that you can achieve without impacting your life or health markers, blood pressure, resting heart rate, things like that.
Check out my site at competitionconsultant.com, where your journey to peak performance and optimal health begins. With a degree in human nutrition and over 15 years of training experience, I've guided more than 400 carnivores to not just meet, but exceed their physique and performance goals.
So if you can, say your health state is at 10 out of 10, say, and say you're trying to gain some body fat very, very slowly just to feel better after competition. If that, say, 10 is going to like an 8 or a 7 or a 6, joints start to get a bit sore, you feel puffy, you're inflamed, digestive issues because you're eating too much food, that's the point you need to slow it down. So the great thing about bodybuilding is there are no rules at all. Sometimes you might gain muscle, but you might be training like a pansy. It could have been a cumulative effect from what you're doing before that point, and now you're allowing your body to recover. So that's my angle on it. It should be done by the quickest possible way that you can while staying healthy. How long that takes, I could not say. As a point of reference, it's very relevant because it is at the moment. I did compete about 1.5 months ago, and long story short, I probably actually dieted about 3 months. It's hard to say because I'm looking through my nutrition tracker and the numbers are a bit higher, a bit lower, but I'd say the time that I was actually solidly, dedicated to it was about 3 months. Also deployed my coach around about 7 to 8 week out mark. Effectively, what you're doing, guys, is you're using a longitudinal leptin reset protocol outside of a bodybuilding show. That's basically it. What I'm doing right now is my body weight is around 96 kilos. I'm around roughly, I didn't weigh on the day of the show, but I'm about 5 kilos heavier than my show day weight, so about 11-12 pounds, which is not a substantial amount. Most people gain back about 30 to 50 within the first 6 months. I'm not going to be that heavy. I don't think there's a benefit of being that heavy at this point. With my body the way it is, my health status the way it is, in terms of pain, I don't want to gain more weight than I need to. But at the same time, I want my weight to be high enough that I feel good, so I'm still going to the gym. I can sleep relatively well when I can. So I hope that kind of explains it all. There's no rules or guidelines, but the premise is get back to your set point quickly.
Build muscle and lose fat on the carnivore diet.